Well, something happened on AEW this past week, and they were trying to blame us, but our hands are clean. Did you hear about this, Brian? The guy that apparently didn't jump in the ring. He didn't make it in the ring. He got to the apron, and somebody corralled him, and then once somebody grabbed him, Jericho wouldn't take a swing at him once somebody was holding on to him. Said he did it for us. Is this what I'm hearing on Twitter or whatever? This fat or whatever his name is. What's his name? Fat idiot, fat bastard.
I'm not going to give this guy's name or give him any credit for anything.
He calls himself a fat something.
But what he tweeted out was that he did it, and to paraphrase, I have a few quotes here. Again, I don't want to read the whole thing, but basically, how did we like what he did? And he did it for all the real wrestling fans, and that wrestling's no longer safe for like people who dance around. But it's almost as if he doesn't listen to the show if he thought this was the solution.
Well, it's almost that if he doesn't read the news, because the last person that tried to go after the wrestlers is still in jail down in fucking Florida in some kind of mental institution, which is where this guy sounds like he needs to be after they were stalking Sonya Deville and whoever she was working a program with that she was hanging out with that night, baking cookies or whatever. Does this guy sound like a fucking stalker type? It's no longer safe. Apparently it's safe now because you've outed yourself with your failed attempt at getting in the ring, and I'm sure they're going to prosecute you, and if you keep saying shit like that, then they're going to pop you for being a mental defective, you fat fuck, and they're going to fucking put you in the booby hatch in a rubber room at the Puzzle Factory, which is probably where you belong. And at the same time, I see this as a heel program, Brian. Because anybody that listens to this program for any length of time ought to know what happens when somebody jumps in the ring. When somebody comes over the rail or jumps in the ring, generally it does not end well for the said jumper, not the jumpees. I've not seen any of the boys. Jimmy Hart one night was on the losing end in Louisville Gardens of a fight with a fan for about 5 seconds until Lawler got a hold of him. That's the only time I've ever seen anybody coming out of the boys coming out on a bad end of a fight when somebody jumps in the ring. You're going to get your fucking head creased. But it's a heel program. I blame both sides because there's almost nobody on the AEW roster that just the average mooch walking around the street would be scared of physically. We get this all the time. We get emails saying, when we talked about the Briscoe brothers, Mark and Jay here, I got a couple of emails saying, the thing is with the Briscoe brothers, if they were to fucking yell and cut promos on me, I would legitimately be scared of them physically. They would hurt me. Whereas if the Bucks or somebody like that did it, I would laugh at them. They might still beat me up, but I wouldn't be scared of them when they were doing it. That's the kind of feedback we're getting. So I think, and also here's another thing. If you jump in the ring on an AEW program, could you then also be prosecuted for, attacking underage minors or defenseless people? It used to be you could sue wrestlers because their bodies and hands were supposed to be lethal weapons. But in this case, if you put My Little Dog Pockets or Dwarf Dong Sucker up on a stand and tried to call them a lethal weapon, what? If the guy got stuck in my throat, he could kill me?
Well, you're being funny, obviously, but
I'm being funny.
The reality of the situation is it was Jericho and MJF, and this guy jumped the rail and was trying to make a move towards the ring, and I just think we should say flat out, if you listen to this show, you know what Jim thinks of AEW, you know what I think of AEW and wrestling as a whole. There are things we like, there are things we don't like, and by and large, we're not fans of AEW's booking and of some of the talents.
But we don't encourage the fans to go on a physical crusade and jump in the ring and get and
if you feel the same way, don't buy a ticket. Don't go.
Yes, we encourage you. Do not buy tickets. Do not go to this shit. Listen to us take the piss out of it so you don't have to put yourself through watching it, and don't buy a ticket, where I'm all in agreement with that. But if you jump in the ring, you deserve to get your ass kicked, and you're going to. Even from these little fucking cosplayers. And then think about this. I get Jericho. If Jericho had kicked his ass, I guess it wouldn't have been that embarrassing because people, for whatever reason, still think Jericho can go. And MJF's not that big of a guy. But can you imagine if they jumped in the ring on one of these little fuckers that might actually know something and they got hogtied and fucking taken down? What if my little dog Pockets stretched some fan? He'd have to leave the fucking country in shame. Oh my God. No, this whole thing is fucking ridiculous. No, we certainly hope that this guy goes to the fucking prison for as long as the statutes will allow. And it's ridiculous. Don't jump in the ring on anybody, whether they're professional wrestlers or whether they're just trying to be professional wrestlers, because it ain't going to end well for you. And it's fucking stupid. And then, for heaven's sake, and I'm not going to be taking the blame for this. I've never asked anybody to beat either one of these motherfuckers up. I've just asked for a number of people to fucking fire them and exile them from professional wrestling. So my hands are clean on this one. Fucking goof.
And I know Tony Khan is a big fan of you and, he's listened to all the things you've done. I sincerely hope in this case he copied something Bill Watts did and stood on this guy's head. Like, seriously, don't jump the rail. If you don't like something, don't watch or don't listen. Or if you want to make negative comments, do that. But at the end of the day, if you're jumping the rail, you got bigger problems. And quite frankly, I hope this guy, it sounds like this guy needs serious help. So maybe after prison, he can get some help. But we don't want anyone to do any jumping of the rails. That's stupid.
Is this guy, does he fantasize that he's a wrestler? Is he one of these guys that is some outlaw fuck and thinks he's a big deal? Or is this, he was thinking this was his way to make a splash in wrestling? Or what was his outlook on that?
I'm not sure how much thought actually went into any of this.
Possibly some, was it 15-cent beer night?
I don't know about that, but
that may have helped.
Once again, people, use your brains. If you really don't like AEW,
well, but now think about
stay
this.
home.
Think about it. You're asking this guy to use his brain. Fuck, he can't even read the instruction booklet. Anyway, and Bill Watts, by the way, I'd love to see Tony Khan stand on somebody's head. They wouldn't know it. You'd have to say, hey, pal, there's a guy standing on your head. Oh, shit. I didn't notice him there. Everybody was laughing because Watts had just come down, because we were in Tulsa, right? So he'd just come down from the house. So he wasn't dressed up because he wasn't going to be appearing in front of the crowd. He's just watching the show, and he wasn't in his normal gimmick. He's wearing tennis shoes. If he'd have had his normal fucking cowboy boots on, he had both of his feet on the side of that guy's head, leaning on the wall to steady himself so that he could put full weight on the guy's head. While he's, so you want to hit some of my wrestlers, huh? Huh? That's what you want to do? And since I was the fucking aforesaid wrestler that he wanted to hit, and I was standing there bleeding out of both sides of my nose, I was enjoying that very much. But that's one of the things that can happen to you.
If you jump the rail, you deserve it.
If you jump the rail, you get your head stood on. Just hopefully Tony Khan will hire a stand-in headstander, because he just don't have the body weight for it. Anyway,